Hello, welcome to video 2. So this will be the reassembly of the brake system along with bleeding the brakes in their entirety and bleeding the clutch. I have a pressure bleeder, so it shouldn't be too bad, but yeah, we'll see what we can do here. I came into a couple issues with the whole kit, which I'll explain along the way. But yesterday it was super windy and wasn't going to be good to film. So I spent 3 hours cleaning the engine bay and kind of fixing all the bolts and all the little fiddly stuff. So we should be good to go today. So let's get into it. Okay. So yeah, I cleaned up pretty much everything that I needed to clean up. There's still a couple little spots from when the overflow overflowed, but yeah. So the Chase Bays kit there's nothing wrong with the Chase Bays kit at all, but I did have to get some custom lines made because my rear brake lines that attach right here, because left-hand drive and right-hand drive are different, the master cylinder would be on that side and it would have a line coming all the way across and into here. So that I just reversed all the other lines, but the one line is, instead of being 4 feet long, I only needed it to be 13 inches long. So there's a local shop I went to here, Allen's Hose, and picked up a hose for this thing. Custom hose with 2 AN fittings, one on each end. One is a 90, one is a straight. It was nice and painless to go through them. And then I actually already had this old clutch line that I was running on the clutch, but it kept getting melted because the clutch line is pretty much right above the turbo and the downpipe and everything. So I used this other line I had, and it comes out of the clutch and goes straight up. It might be a little bit of a bitch to bleed, but it shouldn't be a problem because it's just there's so little fluid in the clutch line system. So yeah, it should be relatively easy to bleed that. So yeah, little bit of fiddly stuff, but everything else that I've seen with the Chase Bays kit is great. It's just not for a left-hand drive or right-hand drive vehicle. Maybe I'll shoot them a message and let them know what obstacles I came into with trying to put the kit in. And maybe in the future they might offer a right-hand drive specific kit. Yeah. So I have all the lines kind of just loosely in here. So I think it's getting to the point where I need to tighten all the lines. I'll have to pop the front wheels off and replace the lines where they go into the caliper lines. And then I gotta like zip tie some stuff, maybe make a couple brackets to hold stuff in the right spots. But that's probably overthinking. So yeah, let's just pull the wheels off and get the other ends of the front lines hooked up. Okay, so let's try and get this done. I think I need a couple wrenches. Okay, so that was relatively easy. I had already chopped the line short. There we go. So that's the stock brake line, brake hard line that came from the ABS module. There we go. So this is not a 10 mil anymore. It is now an 11. Yeah, the joys of trying to fit left-hand drive stuff on right-hand drive stuff has always been a bit of a challenge. Especially being in Canada where there's never right-hand drive shit. I'm sure somebody out there offers a kit for right-hand drives, but I don't want to ship from Australia because it's usually very expensive. And, you know, sometimes you can make this stuff work. I did also get this kit from somebody who decided not to use it, or I think their car might have broke or something after they had bought it. So I lucked out on that. Okay, that's pretty tight. Now we'll just head over to the other side and do it again. All right, so I've pressurized the system. I didn't hear any leaks, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill up the master. The way that this pressure bleeder works, I can put brake fluid in here as well. And as I add pressure and bleed, it actually fills from here into the system. So it shouldn't run dry at all. Shouldn't. So let's hope that it works out. Yeah. Okay. So got to get our brake fluid. Of course, you always got to spill a little bit. Okay, I think that's got it on there. That's now full. So now I got to put brake fluid into the pressure bleeder. There was a little wrench that came with this thing, but it wasn't that great. So I got these guys. So brake fluid starts out as like a really, really light yellow, almost clear. As it is introduced to oxygen, i.e. bubbles in your brake lines, it absorbs that oxygen and it turns more of a darker color. So as your fluid gets older, it gets darker because it's exposed to air. So when you go and look at your brake fluid and it's like a dark, dark yellow, that's when you know you should probably change it. Good little tidbit of information. You can also burn your brake fluid by overheating your brakes, but that's a lesson for another day. I'm acting like I know everything. I don't know everything. I know little bits of useless information here and there. So we're gonna pump this bad boy up. Seems like it's holding pressure. All right, we got 8 psi of pressure. So I'm going to start at the farthest away caliper, which would be that side. Crack it loose until I have no bubbles, and then I'll work my way to the front, and then I can go and double check the last one. That's usually my routine, is I go all the way farthest away, work my way to the closest. So that would be back left, back right, front left, front right. And then I'll go, sometimes I go over and do the whole thing again. It depends on how easily the system bleeds. Without the ABS, I'm expecting it to be a lot better than it was before. So first thing, I'm going to check for leaks. Now that the system's pressurized, I don't see any. I don't feel any leaks. No fluid anywhere. All right. Yeah, it looks like we're good. Now I'm going to go bleed the farthest caliper. Okay, so these calipers have 2 bleed screws. So I'll do the outside bleed screw first, and then do the inside afterwards. Okay. Might have to repressurize it a couple times in order to get all the bubbles out. As the new brake fluid gets to this corner, it should also be a lot lighter than the old stuff. And that looks like might have got it. I'm gonna double check pressure at the front. Looks like we're holding pressure at the front. So we'll crack this a couple more times. You can see it's just pushing fluid, no bubbles. I don't know if you can see it or not. Well, that's fluid without bubbles, so. Tighten that down. And that guy off, let it drain out. Okay, pull the cover off the nipple on the back. We'll get this thing on there. I had a better hose that was longer, but like everything in my life, I've lost. That's gonna pull it right out. Let me get a little box. Waterproof box. There we go. It's a little harder to see back there. It's already clear fluid and has no bubbles. So let me double check that pressure again. And then we can consider the farthest away bled. Okie dokie. On the last one. I'll do a double check afterwards, but this is the last major bleed. So that on there. This hose has been giving me problems. It's not quite big enough, so I got to squeeze it on the tip. It's just a little annoying. Okay. So, double check and make sure we're in focus. Okay. The other side, I was messing around with trying to get the hose on the back side of the brake bleeder, and it just was giving me so many problems. It's already all the bubbles out of it. It has been so much easier to bleed this silly brake system. Yeah. Okay. Pull the cover off. Oh, that's so much easier. Go figure, having the caliper bleed screw being nice and clean and not corroded, the hose went on no problem. So, oh, that is real tight. Just gotta make sure I'm not over tightening it. There we go. The rears are a lot easier to bleed than the fronts. So pretty much the void in the caliper has to fill up with fluid, and then it hits the top where the bleed is, and then it's good to go. This one, I also like to, when you tap on the caliper, you get all the little micro bubbles out. It's probably not necessary, but you know, it's as superstitious as I get. That looks good. Let's just do another crack. Oh, 2 tiny little bubbles. So that should be everything all bled. Should be. I'm gonna go and see about the brake pedal and see how it feels. All right, so I bled and re-bled the system twice over. After the first time bleeding, the pedal was a little squishy. Ended up getting more air out of the inside bleed screws on both front calipers. So it just took a little bit to get them full again. So yeah, re-bleeding was good in this case. So now we can take off the pressure bleeder. There's a little thing at the back to release the pressure. So that it doesn't squirt you when you take it off. This one has a like a one-way valve on the quick connect, but I still like to just take all the pressure out of the system before I take it off. Yeah. So the next major thing I need to do is bleed the clutch. So I got to find out if I have the right cap for the clutch. If not, that's not a big deal. I'll get one of my buddies over to help me bleed the clutch. The clutch is a lot easier to bleed than the entirety of the braking system. So, yeah, we'll get this tightened off. Another really good idea when you're doing this kind of thing is to make sure you clean everything so that you can tell if you're leaking anything when you're done. All right. So let me see what I can locate with the clutch and figure that out. Then I'll reassemble and I'll show you guys how to adjust your proportioning valve, if that's something that you got to do. Sweet. Okay, so my mic died. So I have to film this again. So my clutch, I bled it. The pedal isn't quite returning as it should. So I have to try and bleed it again. I'm going to wait for Buddy to get here, and then we're going to try and bleed it the old-fashioned way, I guess. And then once that's all bled, I can reassemble everything else, put the intercooler back on, and then give this thing a whirl and see how the brakes are. I'll also be adjusting the proportioning valve. I've seen it done before, but I haven't actually done it. So it'll be a learning experience. I'm excited. Hello. It's been a couple days. I got violently ill yesterday and did not move. So I did button everything up, and I took it to the car meet on Wednesday, and I didn't have any issues at all with the brakes. I did have some issues with the clutch because I had disconnected the whole clutch system and I had to rebleed it. And I think because of the longer hose, the throw was a little different, so I had to adjust the pedal as well. So it was a whole fiasco. But got it all dialed in. Clutch works great. Brakes work great. So the one thing that I'm still learning about is how to use the proportioning valve properly. So to my best understanding, you want to have it as much pressure to the rear as possible to start. And then you go on like a dirt road or some dusty pavement kind of thing. And then you see if when you slam on your brakes, if the rears lock up. And if they do, you want to put less pressure going to the rear. So you dial it in. This has a less to rear with an arrow, so you just kind of spin it back until you get it so that you stop without any of the tires skidding. I didn't even try and set it up, and I went and did some braking tests, and it seems to be perfect already. So I didn't want to mess with it too much. But yeah, it's pretty easy to dial in, and if you do some aggressive braking, maybe in the rain or something, and you notice the rear is grabbing more than the front, you just got to dial it. I was also using my winters, and now I'm on my summers, so that could be different too. These are really, really wide tires, considering they're on all four corners. So if I ever go rear wheel drive and have bigger tires in the rear and the front, I can readjust the proportioning valve. If I go to do a track day, I can readjust it depending on how the track conditions are. I can put a lot more to the rear, and then it's a more even brake instead of the front taking all of the work. Yeah, there's lots of different things you can do with proportioning valves. So it's pretty cool. I mean, other than that, I got everything pretty dialed in. I want to do a couple brackets to kind of like hold some stuff into place a bit better. But I'm not in a hurry to do all that. They're zip tied in right now, so zip ties are good. Yeah. So the front two lines come out of the master on the front here. The rear line is right there. This goes straight down to the caliper, or to the other end where there's another braided line that goes to the caliper. Same thing on the other side. The rear is right back in there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's right in there. It goes up into the proportioning valve right here, and then the proportioning valve comes down around into the splitter that goes to the back. I didn't undo any of the lines to the back or anything. I just dialed it in with everything that's there. Bled all the brakes a couple times, which you guys probably saw. And yeah, so far there's no leaks, no issues at all with the kit. It's been great. So yeah, I mean, not much else to say. I put it in and it worked. So on that note, we'll see you guys later. Peace.